In this video, I'm going to introduce a component for Oxygen Builder, and that is the Smart Centered Logo Header. This component allows you to build a centered logo header in Oxygen Builder using just one menu element, one navigation element. And a lot of times when people want to build centered logo header, they do it manually. So they have links and then they place the logo at the center, or they use other forms of CSS positioning. But this component makes it very easy to build a centered logo header in Oxygen. Now let's go inside Oxygen, and this is just how it is set up. I'm gonna go ahead to delete it so I can show you how to set it up. It is a premium component, so once you get it, you're going to find it in your dashboard. So if you have the all access membership, it's also going to be available in the dashboard. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and download the JSON file. Once you download the JSON file, what you're going to do is to drag that JSON file to the browser and then copy it and come to Oxygen and click import, paste it and import, and you're going to have just what you're seeing here. I'm going to save it and I'm going to refresh the front end. We're going to see how it looks. Okay, just like this. It's the same thing. Okay, this is done with the header builder. So if you expand this, you're going to see the header row, and if you expand this, you're going to see the row left, the row center, and the row right. Now these rows are not really selectable. That is why I have decided to build everything with the center row to make it easy to manage. So you're going to ignore this and this. Don't use these two. I would recommend you don't use it. And so row center, I've placed what is called the header inner wrap. Inside it, you could manipulate your header any way you want. You can place multiple divs inside it to control what you place at the left, right, and center of your header. So right here, I've placed my logo here inside the logo wrapper, and I also have the site navigation. I also have the code block that controls the centered logo. And as you can see, I'm using just a single site navigation. So right inside the builder, the logo is not going to be centered, but if you go to the front end, you're going to see that this logo is properly centered in between the menu items. So let me show you some properties of these components. If you go to the code block and you open the JavaScript, you're going to see the configuration. 1 means enable and 0 means disable. So by default, it comes enabled. So let's take a look at the other features. We have indicators. If I turn indicator to 1, it's going to give us a visual indication of where the center of the page is. A lot of times it's not very easy to visually tell whether the logo is at the dead center of the page. So if I refresh this right now, you're going to see that this indicator stays at the very center of the page. So right now you can see that the logo is not exactly at the center, but without this indicator, you would have thought the logo is exactly at the center of the page. Why is the logo shifting away towards the side? That's because you have a lot more characters on this side. That tends to push, the logo away. So I have another feature called force centered logo. So if I turn that to 1, it's going to offset the menus, and then it's going to make sure that the logo is placed at the dead center. So let's refresh that. And you can see that logo comes to the very center of the page. Typically, the centered logo is usually used with menu items that are even number. You either have 2 or 4 or 6. So what happens if I go to the back end of WordPress and let's say add another menu items, making this 7? It wouldn't make sense for that logo to be centered, and this is especially very useful if you are having your client manage the logo. So if they come some other day and add additional item, you are not there to manage these centered logos. So let's go to the back end and go to the menu, and then I'm going to just remove one of these child and place as at the top level, and I'm going to save this menu. And then let's go to the front end. Now if I refresh, we're going to have 7 items instead of 6. So once I refresh that, you will see that it automatically disables the centered logo because it no longer makes sense to have that centered logo within an odd number. So that is by default. That is how it is. The logo should not be centered where you have an odd number of menu items. So it just wouldn't look right. So it automatically takes care of that. Now, this is where the layout inside the builder is important, because what you want to do is to lay out the logo and the menu the way you want it to look once the centered logo is disabled. Let's assume I wanted my logo to be at the top. So I have my logo here. This is my inner wrap. I could just go in here and set that and just center it and save. If I go to the front end, because the centered logo is disabled, if I refresh this, you see that my logo is going to be at the top instead of at the center because we have 7 items. But if I go back to the WordPress menu and just take this back here, okay, and that gives us an even number of top menu items, and that is going to automatically just bring the logo back into the center, and that is extremely useful and easy to manage. So once you have these components, you could just set it up and forget about without worrying that the client is going to mess things up, or even if you're the one managing it, it's going to be easy for you to manage your logo. So let's talk about the other features. Let's say we have what is called the strict mode and the tolerance level. Let's say you are the type of person that you don't want to force center this. Okay, you want a situation where if this logo is not centered, you just don't want the centered logo to be enabled. So let's disable the force center, and then we enable what is called strict mode. We have strict mode that works with the tolerance level. Now, when you have a strict mode, the strict mode looks at the logo and see how much the logo veers off the center. Now, if it veers off by more than the value of the tolerance, for example, if it moves away from the center by more than 10 pixels, the center logo is going to be disabled. So let's save this now, and that strict mode is on. So I'm going to just refresh this, and let's see. So you can see it disables the centered logo. Why? If I turn off this strict mode, you're going to see why it disables it. Why? Because we gave it a tolerance of 10. Okay, now this red line shows the tolerance level. Now if I do that, you can see that it moves away by more than 10 pixels. But if I enable it, and as we saw before, of course it's going to be disabled because the tolerance level and the logo is moving away more than the tolerance level, so it disables it. Okay, but if you want to increase the tolerance level, we could say let's give it a tolerance of 30 and say, all right, if the logo moves in any direction, left or right, we could have a tolerance of up to 30 pixels beyond which it can be disabled. So if, for example, this is just within the tolerance level. Now this is assuming you don't want to force center the logo. Okay, but if you want to force center the logo, then you don't need to worry about any of this. All you need to do is just to disable the strict mode and then just enable force center and save it. And once you do that, it's going to automatically force center this logo. One more thing, this respect the responsive designs. So if I go in here and reduce this, you can see that it's the logo is still at the center. Of course, if you go to that breakpoint and change your alignment, change the alignment. Let's say we go to this breakpoint where we want this to be the hamburger. We could always come back to that inner wrap and just say, no, this is what we want, and then save it. And we have that working for us. So I'm going to just refresh this, and you will see that it just respects. Now, if you have this component, there's a little bit of spice that I've added to the menu, the site navigation. And you can see that it opens below. You can see it opens below the header. It doesn't cover the menu. That is not how it is by default, but I baked that into that site navigation as an extra bonus. And you can see that even the hamburger, I've selected a nice animation, made it look cleaner, and just that's just what you get in addition. I also want to point out that this centered menu logo is compatible with the site navigation. It's also compatible with the WordPress menu, the normal menu. It's also compatible with the Pro menu. So for example, if you don't want to use the site navigation for any reason, which I strongly recommend, you should use the site navigation because I think it's the best, navigation element in Oxygen. But if you want to use the Pro menu, let's say I want to use the Pro menu, I just put Pro menu. So what you do is that once you drop a Pro menu, you just have to copy this class DW centered logo menu to that Pro menu. just add that class, and you can see that things already started looking different. It just, you know, makes it look better a little bit. And then I'm going to delete the site navigation. If I save this, you will see that that works with the Pro menu also. So I'm going to refresh this. Let's just, you can see it works with the Pro menu also. If I want to use the regular WordPress menu, so let's just say menu, and this is the regular WordPress menu, and then I decide to put that class there also, and then delete the Pro menu. I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to go to the front end, and I will refresh that, and you can see that it also works with the regular menu items. Right, so this component is available for sale. I'm going to drop in the link in the description. You can also have access to these components alongside other components if you have the all access membership, which is currently at a 40% discount at the time of this recording. So you can get that while the offer lasts. If you get this, you're going to have access to this component with other components that I already have and the components I'll be adding in the future. And if you get that at that discount, you will always renew at that discount forever. So it's locked in at that rate forever. So get it while the offer lasts if you want to get that all access membership. But if you want to buy this as a standalone, you could go ahead and buy it as a standalone. And also have links for you to check out other components that are available. So get this and let me know how it works for you. Until next time, do have a great day. Bye.